welcome back. We have a main card ahead of us here at LatB. You know where you can find us to get all this good information at. And this main card is going to be starting out with a profile fight at 125 pounds with Alexander Pantoja coming in against Askarov. I mean, this is a closely contested bout. The number 7 fighter against the number 4 in Pantoja at 125. These
In the
guys can
main card,
easily
real quick,
main
I'm sorry
card.
to interrupt.
You're right. You're right. On the
You're
main
a little
card.
whiskeyed. I'm a little whiskeyed.
Absolutely.
What are you drinking?
I am on the Wolford's Reserve Rye. Ooh,
They don't pay enough. Hold it up to the camera. Hold it up to the camera.
Yeah, but they don't pay me enough for
the okay. They don't get to see it.
I'm just gonna do the back.
Mine's so good, and I'm at the end of it, and I might finish it on this podcast, that I just have to tell everyone, if you get another stimulus check or you just make enough living that's how you roll in whiskey. I'm not there yet, but hopefully one day I will be. This whiskey right here, Angel's Envy, is so good. It's dangerously good. It's
very smoky.
Dangerously good. So anyways, go on with Pantoja. I felt like it was worth it for the Pantoja fight.
Definitely. Askarov, though, coming in with an 11-0-1 record, only getting a draw in his debut against Brandon Moreno, split decision in there 9 months ago. Then he beat Tim Elliott in the decision where he knocked out Tim Elliott in the first round and ended up just winning a decision. Askarov comes in with a solid striking acumen, not really going to blow you out, more kill you by 1,000 cuts, but when he gets you to the ground, he can really stay on top, land a lot of rapid punches. The submission potential is always there, but he really doesn't do that. He's more of a position over submission, kind of grinds most of his opponents out. And here against Pantoja, he was on standby for División Figueiredo at 125 pounds. The UFC said, Figueiredo don't make weight. You're in the title fight, so you better be getting ready for 5. That is just a factor that is going to, I feel like, play in this, because Pantoja has been training for 5. All of a sudden, he's got 3. Askarov has been known to go a solid 3, though, so I think it only benefits Pantoja that much more, and I feel like the betting lines are reflecting that as well. Pantoja hits a little bit harder. Pantoja really tends to sit guys down when he hits them. Good counter striker. Awesome takedown defense, is really proven it time and time again coming out of Novo União. Pantoja, though, at 30 years old, is just kind of showing us that he's getting into his peak. I don't know if he has that many more big gains, especially if he stays at Novo União. I feel like he'd really gain going to a different team, because we see what happens with those Barraus, Aldos, and guys. They plateau. And I feel like that's where Pantoja is. Is it, though, a plateau that's still able to beat Askarov? Yes, I do think it is, but I do think it turns into a decision. I think Askarov's can stay alive in this fight more than long enough. I don't think it's a quick finish by any means whatsoever. Askarov's big punches before and still stayed on those takedowns and still just kept up the strike.
All right. I do not know if he is frozen or if he will be back. So I will just go into my picks. I went back and forth on this. I had Alexandra Pantoja the whole time, and I thought it was easy. There's been a couple of things in the last Pantoja fights that I haven't really loved. I thought his bodies looked kind of soft. His cardios look kind of weak. I don't know if he's trying to cut too much weight to get to 125 or what it is. But Askarov's one of those weird underdog dudes that keeps showing up. I can't even... he doesn't do anything explosive. He doesn't do anything that is going to take your breath away in the fight. But I think the points just keep adding up. I think he does body work the whole time. I think he lands a bunch of shots. He is one of the cut you by 1,000 cuts. I think he's going to have the better cardio here. So I look for Alexander Pantoja to be more explosive. I do think he has more ways of flash winning, whether it's knockout or submission, but I just think Askar is the more well-rounded guy. I'm going to go with the weird underdog here. I am gonna pick Askarov. I'm the weird one. I think he's gonna make it a dull, boring fight. He's gonna uh, get punches when he's in the distance. And I love Pantoja, but something's just not clicking with me for the fight. And I think Askarov's alive. Now, give me Askarov decision. And now I have to see, is he going to come back on? Does he know he's frozen? Maybe he can get off and get back on. Oh, here he comes. Woo woo. Hooty hoo. This makes everything fun.
Sorry. Can you hear me?
Totally. Maybe you just need to click your video so we can see your beautiful face.
My computer blue screened to death me.
So you had to phone us?
That's exactly what's happening. I'm on the phone right now.
Oh, well, at least we get to look at beautiful Zeppelin. I think the video will work on your phone too.
I think it will. I'm trying to find that. I'm not gonna.
I don't know if you heard my breakdown at all, or my.
I did not. My computer completely shut down.
Oh, okay. Well, right I just did it when you went, and I have Askarov decision. I think he's the grimier guy. I don't think he's flashier. I don't think anything's crazier. I think the guy that's definitely more fun for UFC reels later on is Pantoja, but Askarov is. He's the live dog to me in this fight night. Hello again? Oh, there you are.
Yes, I'm okay. Absolutely on. I'm looking for the video chat, and I like what you're saying here. It's gonna be a tough fight. I do think it's a little bit closer than the Lions have it. I like Pantoja here in a decision, but I think it's a decision type of a fight. I don't see a finish.
Yeah, I don't see a finish either. I like it to go to decision. I just think Askarov's going to have the better cardio after all the explosion of Pantoja. And will Pantoja lay the significant strikes enough in the round? Because I think Askarov will get the number of more strikes landed. So, but Pantoja, fun guy. I was saying too, I think there's just something about him that he hasn't shown up. Like, he hasn't given me. Like, I want to love him. I've pulled for him a couple of times, and it always seems like the wrong times. So I like the dirty underdog here.
Is it because he's the cannibal?
Maybe it is. And you know how I'm a sucker for a bullet nickname.
So on DraftKings, you're going to end up having to pay for the decided favorite in... Oh, what the heck? I'm looking for the lines here. Pantoja Askarov, 8,800 for Pantoja against Askarov, 7,400. Do you think you're going to be playing either of these fighters on your DraftKings? Because I feel like
I got to pick Askarov. I don't see him finishing or getting finished. So I could see myself playing Askarov more, but it's not to say that I won't play Pantoja on one, just to hedge my bets. I follow the crowd sometimes.
On DraftKings, the averages for Askarov is 62 points to an average of 84 for Pantoja. So Askarov, they're both right in that range. I don't know if I necessarily feel more comfortable with one than the other than I feel like I'm going to be fairly limited on this, because even if Askarov wins, I feel like he's at max going to be 80 points. So it's going to be a close one. I feel like Pantoja might have a higher ceiling if he gets a finish, but I really don't see that. I think Askarov legitimately has solid enough of a chin to stay in this fight.
Agreed. Neil, the security, said, hopefully we don't get the ball ref from Wednesday's fights. That's the one I kept saying. If you have to worry about if some guy may be heavier in the grappling, you might take that away from this fight card, because Yas has one ref that you could get a really good chance that he will not let them grapple for over 25 seconds. Florida downpour.
Absolutely. The Florida storms are coming in hard.
Real quick, too, if for whatever reason, if your computer comes back to and you want to sign off and sign back in, that's fine. Because I think the live shows, yeah, because this is so close to the, right up on the line. It is what it is. I feel like COVID, you're allowed
Absolutely.
to get away with technical issues.
Absolutely in here. That's all restarting. So I think we're doing it good here live via the call now. I feel like I can get what we need here. So at
I
125
know. I
pounds,
just I love Zeppelin's face, but it's not as fun talking to Zeppelin.
I am as soon as I will log in and try
Okay,
to do it
take your
that
time.
way.
All right, Lipsky,
So at
Carolina.
we have at 125 pounds, Andrea Lipsky coming in against Luna Carolina. The 6-1 fighter Carolina's coming off a 6-fight winning streak, last beating Priscilla Cachoeira in a decision a year ago. Prior to that, beating Lima in a decision. She shows she's a counter striker. She shows that she wants to keep it up, right? Having a semi decent sprawl and a takedown on the ground. Haven't really seen much from her. She's serviceable. I feel like I caught one grappling match of hers, and she knows what she's doing, but she's not going to do anything too crazy. She knows how to throw an armbar up in there in a triangle, but she's not really looking for them and can get stuck off of her back at times. Against Ariana Lipsky, the 12-5 fighter, is coming off of a win finally against Isabel Pudawa. Prior to that, losing to Molly McCann and Joanne Calderwood. The KSW standout tends to be the striker out of most of her bouts. The violence queen in there throws elbows well on the regional scene, but really hasn't shown them in the UFC much whatsoever. Her takedown defense has been abysmal, and her ground IQ is not really there as well either. Um, but I do think that this turns into a striking affair. Carolina likes to keep it striking. She likes to be on the counter. I do think that this actually has a potential for really low output and feel like it turns into a decision type of a back and forth. Give me Carolina decision, but this is a big fat stay away. This is a coin flip of a fight. I do. A lot of people have
Lipsky.
Lipsky. So uh, I definitely gonna be staying away from this one. But give me the slight underdog -105 to the -125 Carolina. Do you think you're taking either one of these ladies?
I agree with every single thing you said, except I have Lipsky decision. I just think I think this is a huge step up for Carolina. I like everything she's shown so far. It's just Lipsky is not looking great against UFC caliber women. Carolina is looking good against like contender series. So, I think this is going to be boring. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be arguably either way. I think this is the dirty split. I got Lipsky decision.
Absolutely, absolutely. Oof,
Well, the
absolute
one
dirty
good thing that
split.
could happen in these kind of fights with these that we question if they're going to be boring is at least with that bald ref, if he gets this kind of fight, so it's like break it up. It could behoove us.
So on DraftKings, you're gonna end up paying 8,300 for the slight -125 favorite Lipsky, 8,300 against Carolina, 7,900 plus or -105 underdog. I don't think I'm going to be putting either one of these ladies, even though Carolina has an average of 108 in her first fight with a ton of significant strikes. I see Lipsky putting up much more of a fight. I see them averaging to about that 60 points for the winner, probably 30 points for the loser. That could go either way. It all depends on who gets that decision at the end of it. But I don't want to put my money on that. I doesn't seem like it's going to end up paying off for my DraftKings. I need 100 plus type of fighters.
Agree.
So then we move on to a profile fight at 155 pounds. We have a standout in Mark Diakevsky coming in against Rafael Fiziev. Fiziev being 7-1, finally getting a win in the UFC against Alex White in a decision. Prior to that, losing to Magomed Mustafayev in a TKO.
Hate to interrupt, but you know I'm good at interrupting. Do you think that the next fight card with Darren Till and Robert Whitaker behooves, or I don't want to use that word twice too soon. That's a weird word. Do you think it warrants Evil Twin visiting for the main card breakdown? I like the long pause. You might have to hit a microphone or something since you're back on the computer. But do you think that it's a card enough that we've done over 300 shows. We've been here for years. We've talked about him, and oddly enough, he's probably been stopped on the street and people were like, "Love me." I'm just kidding. But do you think the next card is enough card that Evil Twin would join us on the show?
Yes.
I think you should chat with him.
Have to work with his time frame.
We'll work with his time frame more because we know we have no problem admitting he's a grown up and we are kids that play in the adult world. We do everything we're supposed to. We check all of our boxes, pay our bills, pay our taxes, do everything we're supposed to, like goodies. Absolutely. But he's got the kid and the legacy of the name. But I feel like he's out of everyone, we've talked about him the most on the show.
Oh, for sure.
So
for sure. Maybe he's listening right now. We'll have to end up seeing in here. So
Daikesi Fiziev. Sorry.
Fiziev being that Tiger Muay Thai striking coach in there, but show us that he can get outstruck when he's in this UFC level. His wrestling is definitely more than serviceable. He's shown with all of those Tiger Muay Thai guys that they're solidly well-rounded guys. Fiziev finally getting his feet wet in there and proving that he can go the distance against a solid fighter in white and make adjustments in there. Daikesi, though, is one of these interesting guys that came in really hot, had a 3-fight losing streak, stayed in there luckily enough, beat Joe Duffy and Lando Venata, went to American Top Team, learned a lot, but is eventually moved back to England to train with his original camp. And I really like that for him, and that's where he got back on his winning streak, where he learned what he could from that big camp down there in Florida and then realized, like, all right, I learned to take down the fence. I learned how to get up on the cage. Now I striking credentials to get what I need to in here. And I feel like the big intangible and the big real difference, because both of these guys are going to be the takedowns and ground game for Daikesi that's been more developed at a better camp, I feel like, and proven it in these last few fights, actually going for takedowns at really opportune times, where Fiziev is pretty much a striker for me. He's not looking to grapple. He's not going for takedowns. He wants to beat you in a point fight. So I think Daikesi can point fight, but then when it needs to turn into an MMA match, he's going to be the one to take it over pretty handedly. So I think it's a solid decision. I don't necessarily see the finish, but out of the two, I like the finish more for Daikesi. Give me him in this position decision. Who do you think you're going to be taking in this one?
I like Fiziev. Fiziev is one of those weird guys nobody's heard of that you can put him on a card and he could easily win. I'm also a Daikesi hater, but that stopped his last fight. His last fight, he put every single thing together for me with Lando Venata to make that a decisive decision against one of the guys that I think is top-notch in the sport that doesn't get enough accolades for it. I thought Daikesi looked so good that I just can't think Fiziev is up to the caliber of Mark Daikesi at this point. So I don't mind. I think that him getting away whatever he had to learn, and I also don't mind that he's back at his old camp. I liked what he showed me his last fight, and I can't wait for this fight. I think he might be my linchpin, which is, I don't think I've ever said that about Bone Crusher, but I really like him everywhere here. I think he's one of those guys that's super well-rounded that can put together a takedown in a combination of strikes, and I love that about him. I know he's not a heavy takedown, but
definitely in here. So he's going to be this minus 160 favorite is Daikesi, 8,500 on DraftKings against Fiziev, 7,700. I like what you're saying. I think Daikesi is solid here. I'm going to go in that 30% range for Daikesi at 8.5. I think he can pay it off out of both fighters. The average points, Fiziev 34, Daikesi 65. It is a little bit steeper. I do think a decision, but it's a fun matchup. I'm interested in this one. I really think that they're going to be putting a lot of different looks in here, and excited. This is a sleeper card. I feel like we knew the last one was going to be a little
Mm.
iffy. This one, even though they're close, stylistically, they're really, really interesting
Real
matchups.
fun. I think this is a fun fight night. If somebody asked me in the last, it would have been hard with last Saturday's fight night, but if somebody asked me of the 3 fight nights, if I could only watch one, this is the one I like. Granted, anyone who listens to the show knows I love Jack Hermanson. I don't mind the two smaller guys fighting. It's whatever. They look huge in there to me once they're doing their business. But I also love Kelvin Gastelum. So just the top of this card, I'm so intrigued about that. If you say, like, this could be the fight of the night to me, this could be the fight of the night to me. Sometimes when we come to do the podcast, certain things I'm the most intrigued about. I'm so interested in what you got going on with Jack Hermanson and Kelvin Gastelum. Like, I don't
So
even,
this is
I have my pick, and you could probably guess what my pick would be. I'm guessing that you could probably guess, but I'm interested in yours because I know these are like one of your favorite newer fighters and one of your favorite older fighters.
absolutely KG Kelvin Gastelum coming in with a 16-5 fighter. The 5'9" fighter has been fighting against the best for a very long time. We know what we're getting with KG. He's just one of these guys that at 28 years old, it's kind of, I want to say a finished product, but he's not because he still has that potential. But he's been fighting for so long. We've just seen such an evolution, but it's kind of plateaued. We know what we're getting with KG. A wonderful jab straight left combination. One of the best in the game. Knocked out Tim Kennedy, has knocked out many opponents with just jabbing them. Straight left up the middle. Hard, fast. Has solid boxing defense. Has serviceable IQ in there, definitely knows how to pressure people and put game plans together, but has shown us in his outside life that that taco life is real. Kelvin Gastelum loves churros, loves tacos, put it all mixed together, and he will eat, because he's really a 170 pounder that's not disciplined. He's just been able to uh, allow his athleticism and heart to get it through because that Adesanya fight is a fight of the year contender because of heart. Kelvin Gastelum was getting beat and did not stop. In that fifth round, he knew he was down, tried to win, he got sat down. Oh, yeah, I mean, sat down, but kept on fighting. You will never get a quitter in Kelvin Gastelum.
I hate that fight made Adesanya that much better too.
Absolutely
That fight was next level.
crazy.
I love
So
it. It was one of my
Gastelum
favorite of all time.
Gastelum since then has lost and needs to get back on track, having a 2-fight losing streak to the champ there in Adesanya. And this is where Until looked bigger, a lot bigger than KG in there, and so did Adesanya. And I feel like Hermanson's one of the bigger 185ers in here. He really even looked big to Jacare Souza when we watch it live. I mean, Jack Hermanson's a guy who cuts the 85 for a reason. He's one of the guys that here on that B, we've been on for that Jacare fight, for that Cannonier fight, even though it didn't work out. But we like Jack. He made a lot of those changes back in the day. He does a lot of what that Amir Khani does in that sitting reverse Danaher guillotine there, where he sits from on top. But it's going to be hard for Jack Hermanson to get his wrestling going, I feel like, potentially in this fight, the 20-5 fighter coming off of that loss. 2 Cannoniers, I'm saying. And I think the biggest changing in that fight that I saw for Cannoniers or for Hermanson was when he couldn't get the takedown on Cannonier, all of a sudden Hermanson was like, all right, I got to outstrike this guy. And then Cannonier's got a wicked left straight. And that's exactly what Kelvin Gastelum has. Wicked left straight, can keep it up when he wants to. On the ground, we know what he does, though. And this is where it's really... if KG can keep the takedown defense going and keep it upright, I feel like he can keep it really close on the feet. But on the ground, it either goes one of two ways. KG can get it back to his feet or he gets dominated. Because that's how it happened with Chris Weidman and a bunch of these other guys that have really gone to the wrestling. KG does a couple moves on the ground and that's it. they work really well against non-wrestlers, guys that don't think it's coming. But KG grabs the wrist and fat man rolls, gets the guys to go on their side and they freak out. But any good wrestler like a Chris Weidman or any other guy who's beat Kelvin on the ground is they know to just stick with the roll. He'll have to roll up and you'll stay on and be able to get what you get going. But no one other, not no one, but it's just been tougher to do than actually stay here. And Jack has shown that striking wise, people like Cannonier, big punchers with KG. Kelvin Gastelum is at one point in time at 100% knockdown rate in the UFC. Only recently did that not change. But Kelvin has notoriously been able to knock down every one of his opponents regardless of size. So I think Hermansson's going to be really close in here. And it's whether he can eat the shot and keep fighting or not, because Kelvin will swarm you when he needs to. Great fight IQ in that sense. And I'm ultra excited. I could wake up and go with Kelvin Gastelum tomorrow. I got Jack Hermansson decision. This is the closest fight on the night.
My man. And I don't know if it's like a feed that we've been like in our little vampire nest too long, that how much we love Jack Hermansson. But here's some things that I want to say about Kelvin. Has he been in Yas longer than a lot of the other fighters?
I feel like I've seen him maybe 2 weeks out. I think about 2 weeks ago, I saw him on Twitter talking about getting on the plane. So maybe about 14 days.
I might get a little hate for this. I'm like getting ready for it. I think Jack Hermansson beats Chris Weidman. I think Jack Hermansson beats Darren Till. I know he's not as popular. I know he's not, but he still has his length. He has great striking from the distance, which if you can keep Kelvin Gastelum, it's kind of like that with Molly McCann even last weekend. She was so much smaller than her opponent with the reach. She just, to get inside, she had to take that extra step, so it made everything that much more telegraphed. That's how I feel about Kelvin Gastelum at 185. I feel like I regurgitate it when I say it. Kelvin's one of those dudes, if he just had a little bit, yeah, I know he has the DC body, blah, 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 but he don't look that great at 185. If he just had a little bit more willpower, I really believe Kelvin, he could be the most dangerous opponent to Cameron Usman at 170. Like, I love everything that Kelvin puts together. Izzy, the last Izzy we saw is better than the Izzy that fought Kelvin. Izzy just keeps kind of getting better, and I feel like Kelvin is the same Kelvin that fought Chris Weidman that fought Izzy. He just kind of stays the same dude. And so Jack Hermansson, I just feel like he elevates it a little extra every time. He gives me a little more energy, a little more confidence in his skills, a little more badassery. Yeah, it's interesting. Have we seen Jack Hermansson off a loss? No, but Jared Cannonier, next level. We both love him, especially down at this weight class. And I think Jared Cannonier knocks out Kelvin Gastelum without question. I think most of the people that would have taken that shot from Jared Cannonier, it would have knocked him out. And Jared Cannonier is my dark horse on the division, no racist. Like, he's my dude that I think he's the number one guy I would duck fights from in the 185. I think he's so dangerous, so strong. And you said something to me years ago. There is something that you cannot replicate about carrying around the real weight all the time. And so the fact,
like your body, right?
Yeah, like the actual fat. Like, there's something you can't replicate about carrying it around all the time. And so I feel like for him to just keep cutting down and then looking good at these weights, not being like flab gutted that we're having to see him get the towel, shred city. So I love Jack Hermansson here. I like Jack Hermansson by decision. I think the 3 rounds actually benefits Kelvin more than it does Jack Hermansson. I think that Kelvin can unleash for 2 rounds, and we know he has the power. Can he catch Jack Hermansson with that exact same punch that Cannonier caught him with? Yes, he can. And am I questionable of Jack Hermansson's chin now? Maybe a little. It was just one. It was a bomb, but Kelvin can lay those exact same bombs that Jared Cannonier can lay. So I like Kelvin for the earlier knockout. I might play him on 1 or 2 cards, but I'm picking Jack Hermansson right now. Kelvin's also the number one guy I have that could miss weight after Figueiredo.
It's definitely going to be a profile fight. I'm excited for it. On DraftKings, you're going to pay for the slight favorite, minus 120, Kelvin Gastelum, 8,200 against Hermansson's minus 110, 8,000 even. Do you think you're going to be playing Hermansson here?
I'm going to play them both a little.
79-point average for Hermansson, 77 points for KG.
This is the weird thing about Hermansson too. If anyone rewatches his fights, if you're counting significant strike, homeboy, for the amount of significant strike somebody lays with the output, Jack Hermansson has a next level cardio. But we haven't seen him in a long. Well, we saw him in a 5-round with Sousa.
Against Sousa, we saw the crowd leaving as well while we were cheering her.
This is going to be a fight of the night. This is going to be so good. Guaranteed. What I say, it's weird to have decision now. In 3 rounds, if both these guys get to swing away without a cardio worry, I can't imagine this fight goes the distance. 3 rounds?
I think it goes the distance, but I do think it's a dogfight. I'm excited. Really
I love this fight.
I think you got to have exposure to both sides of this as well. Absolutely. They're right in that mid-range. They both can throw a lot. It's not a stack. It is not a stack.
Not a stack. I agree with you.
And we like to stack cards here, but I think this is going to be one of the few nights that we don't stack specifically. Usually there's
I want to say, wait, these are 2 small guys in the main, but then I looked at my pick and I'm like, it wouldn't behoove you to stack if my pick's right.
That's exactly it. Just not going to be it. At the main event, at 125 pounds for the belt, we have returning Joseph Benavidez coming in against Davician Figueiredo 2, because Davician did not make weight, but he did end up knocking out Joe B in a brutal KO. Joe B claims to the headbutt, where if you've been listening here to Lat B, I've been saying it for years. Joseph Benavidez leads with his head. He headbutts every single one of his fighters. He's done it on the wins that he gets. He still headbutts fighters. Sergio Pettis said it after his fight. He's like, Joseph Benavidez headbutted the fuck out of me a lot. He absolutely doesn't here. And what I don't like in all of the media footage that I've listened to of Joe B is he saying that this fight was completely different and he was winning it, which he was, because he was landing more strikes than Figueiredo, but he was definitely, I feel like, feeling the punches a lot more. And he says that after the headbutt, it ended up changing the dynamic where he got knocked out, and he wants to make Davician feel that nausea and that not knowing where you were when you wake up in the morning.
You could be Joey Benavidez' little brother.
That's racist. That's racist.
I feel like I've said it to you in person. Out of all the fighters, I don't think you're more handsome, but Joey B.
I'm way bigger than him.
That I know, but age. I just said it age-wise. Like, that's why I said little brother. You are way bigger than him. But I just think that he could be in your family, Joey B. I don't think I think he's an attractive cat.
Joey Mexican B. and Italian. He's got that little, who's her name?
He's pulling hot tail.
Absolutely.
Your favorite girl, Olivia.
Olivia, who now says she can't watch the fights. She used to initially, but once he's been at this stage, she just turns everything off and comes because she tries not to cry. Regardless, she's just, woo! How rough would that be? Poor lady. So
she needs to go and hang out with Nina for a little while. But I guess if she's on the winning side, Nina's like, it's nothing for me.
She knows how to break down a fight, and she's like, honey, you just got knocked the fuck out by this guy. How do you think she's feeling about this fight coming into it again?
I have a question. Yeah. If you were to give a woman the opportunity to sit ringside, I don't think we've ever seen it in the UFC. Have we seen a woman sit ringside and do the fights with like Joe and Anik?
No, officially we haven't. No, sorry. Like commentating.
Does Megan have chops for that, or would you say
it's her or Sanko? It's her or Sanko.
Yeah,
I
I
think
love that
that's
idea.
probably
I
it.
wonder what a woman's
Yeah,
voice would sound like in that.
I
It's
would love it.
intriguing. You know who else could do it? Leslie Smith. Oh,
Don't worry about getting
we
sued with
just got
Leslie
kicked
Smith.
off YouTube. No, I'm just kidding.
Absolutely is it.
Spearhead, Project Spearhead. Oh,
So
speaking
no,
of, real quick, we didn't discuss it. Viper taking over for Reebok. What do you feel about that?
I love it because Viper's been around and been uh, in the MMA sphere since the get go, where Reebok wasn't. That's why I hated Reebok because it's just like a generic big company that's not that cool. Where Viper actually has worked with fighters for so many years, and they're in the Affliction. They're right above Affliction in that same type of vein. But if they lay off of the snake logo in every single one of their SKUs,
If they
they'll
get
probably be
clever
all
with
right.
it, I don't mind if they
Yeah,
hide it in there. Be clever with how you're gonna. Everybody knows you don't need a snake and the name Viper. You can
right,
be clever with it. They're both the same thing. So it's like you don't
right.
need just the
It's
okay,
a lot of
hide it.
I would put Viper in the same vein as Fox with all of the motocross stuff, where it's like they just always have the Fox everywhere, and it's like I get it, just not enough. So I like what you're saying. Free advice here from Lat B Viper. Be sure to cut the check when you get those residuals coming, and just say it.
They say they plan on the fighters making more money, which I like. I think the clothing will be better because, like you're saying, Viper's been designing for MMA fighters for a long time. Um, Reebok means like African antelope or something. Like every other shoe is like a Greek god, and then Reebok African antelope. So I like the Viper. They don't have to go heavy in the shoe wear for me of sneakers. No one wears sneakers in the cage. Make some bomb ass slides with a little Viper logo, a little UFC. I will purchase those. I'm a slide wearer. So I don't know if E is frozen again. And we are just getting into Figueiredo Benavidez. And so, oh, coming back on the phone call, talking to Zep.
Absolutely talking Zep. So
Anyways, I
what
didn't
did
go
you?
heavy into the Viper thing. I just said I like it more. They don't need to go heavy into the sneaker category and design sneakers. I think Viper can make a bomb ass slide, and I will be okay with that. When do the fighters need sneakers? They're weighing in or they're walking into the octagon. So just make a bomb ass slide, some good ass shorts that fit for kicks or for grappling or for whatever. Make some good shirts and sports bras for the ladies. We're good to go. We don't need sneakers. And then I talk shit about how Reebok is an African antelope and every other sneaker company is a Greek god.
You're
So
absolutely right on that. So I can't wait for the change as well. It's going to be nothing but a positive here. So back to this main card fight. I definitely, as I was saying with Joey B, I don't feel like he's taking credit for that headbutt because he's the one that leaned into it. But even the effects that he was in a nasty depression and really showing kind of signs of CTE, waking up at your house and not knowing where you are is just a big sign of just not being able to take the punches so much. He's not known to be chinny, but when I go back and watch that Figueiredo fight, even though Benavidez landed more strikes, I saw Figueiredo being like, hit me to the body and face. I don't care. You can't eat my shots. And then just landed bombs on Joey B. And he was definitely feeling it just so much more. And I don't see how that changes in this fight at all. If anything, I think Figueiredo gets more confident in eating those shots and just kind of walks, just kind of Terminator him down, throws that switch stepping uppercut that I like the profile that who was it? The grill. George Foreman used to throw all the time. Figueiredo does it a lot where he'll throw a couple jabs and then he'll walk in a switch step with an uppercut and it will end up finishing that fight. I like Figueiredo as many people do for that fourth round TKO. I could even move it into the second or first just because I don't like what I saw going back and actually watching the fight. Figueiredo had zero fucks about any strike that Joey B landed and was just like, oh, okay, you can't hit hard. So give me Figueiredo up and down on this card.
I Totally agree with you. And all the same, I did not catch a lot of MMA this week, but I happened to catch those Joey B interviews, and I thought I don't want to steal MMA Mark's buddy's slogan, but I just felt like, damn, Benavidez got bitch in him. He just looked like he was making all sorts of excuses for something that he did. Was he pointing it out? Yes, but if significant strikes are the thing, and if grappling is going to be broken up, all those things behoove Joey Benavidez. So I think I like Figueiredo everywhere here. I think he comes in even more prepared for anywhere that he was lacking the holes. I think he's it's not because he's a better fighter. It's just because he has less miles on his car. I kind of think about Joey B that I do about Kelvin Gastelum a little, where it makes me worried is that he's just been in the game for such a long fucking time, and at the level that he's been doing it, like Figueiredo, we saw him fight some cans on the way up with Joey B. When was the last time Joey B had a can? It was when like my nieces were in diapers.
So, on DraftKings, you're going to end up paying $9,000 for the favorite, Figueiredo, against $7,200 for Joey Benavidez. I don't see myself putting Joey B anywhere, even though I have it going into the fourth round. I can see myself, again, moving that up to a much earlier second round type of a finish for Figueiredo.
How much is Joey B?
$7,200.
Here's the weird thing with Joey B. It is a 5-round fight. Joey B's more comfortable there. I felt like Figueiredo laid off. That's the reason everyone felt like Joey B was winning the fight, because Figueiredo knew he had to save his cardio in the last time they were out. I feel like he might conserve it a little more, in which case Joey B he's such a point layer with how many strikes he can land. And maybe a takedown, maybe. So I don't know. If depending on who my bottom guys are, I could see myself laying Joey B on a card or two.
I agree with that, because it is a 5-rounder, and if Joey B doesn't put the pressure that he did the first fight where he was walking into a lot of those shots, he can go 5-round, and he's proven that before in other fights. So I guess you are right. You absolutely, for 7-2, he could be salary relief there, but as we were saying beforehand, there's no way you
stack card. I agree. I was going to say no
here.
Stack. Go Joey B like 10, go heavy on Figueiredo, but don't put either of them everywhere.
Absolutely right there. There's definitely other spots throughout the night to be able to go for either one of those guys for higher percentages. So definitely a fun night of fights.
What's our next fight card?
Darren Till versus Whitaker.
And that's not next week, or it is?
That is next week in Abu Dhabi at the Yas Island. Yes.
Yes! So we'll do that again. We'll definitely be here Wednesday. We'll definitely be doing the Fights of the Round Table Saturday night. Make sure you look up Fights of the Round Table, or go to Twitter and find one of us, and we'll retweet something, Fights of the Round Table. But if you hit the bell, you'll get the live thing. And it's not just E and I. It's the guys from MMA Marks. We've had Grampy back join us. We've had Juice from Fighting With Myself podcast join us. We've had a flash or two from World Winning Federation after he became the champ. And so I definitely think you guys can go over to the Backlog Network and watch us live, or find us on YouTube. So that's all I got to say about that. It was a pleasure hanging out with you guys. I'm glad we did this short notice. And where are you at?
Let me!